Hey, I never posted anything on YouTube before, so I hope this goes alright, but I needed to realign my front forks. This is a 2014 Cb1000r, and it got hit by a deer, and drove fine. I noticed that my handlebars were running a little crooked down the road, so I just had replaced the handlebars. The handlebars were brand new, they weren't bent. And I noticed the top clamp was sitting crooked when the tire was straight, so I had a problem with my front forks. Nothing was bent. I checked all that. Forks were straight, axle pins straight and all that. Nothing's broken or bent up front. So they just, I don't know, 20 degrees out of alignment. I looked up on YouTube how to realign your front forks by loosening everything besides the top bridge pinch bolts. Keep those tight, loosen everything south of them, and with the bike straight, plunge the front, plunge the forks. Should straighten everything back out, retighten. I tried that. It didn't work. I loosened everything below the top bridge pinch clamp and plunged the hell out of the front end like I was plunging a toilet. It didn't work. It stayed the same. So I double checked that nothing was bent, but the plunging method just didn't work. So I came up with this in case anyone else tried the old plunging method and didn't have success. And with the plunging method, I'm sort of a perfectionist when it comes to just about everything. Just to me, it seemed a little hard to eye up the front tire, eye up the handlebars, the clamps, to say, yeah, that's straight. You know, that's what I consider perfect. Basically, you're just guessing that it's good, looks good. So I wanted to make sure it was good. So also, this type of bike, I don't have spools on the rear or a way to use a stand on it, so I have it suspended from my roof. Any way that you can come up with keeping the bike upright and stable to do this will work. I'll show you what I did here. This is how I got the bike suspended. I just centered a, well, you get the point. And yeah, if you're gonna do that, make sure that you trust what you did so your bike don't fall. But I have the bike sitting where it should, straight. And I already straightened my front forks, so I'm not going to go through all of this with you. I'm just going to show you the basic setup. But tire is straight. You know, find yourself something that you trust is straight. This edge here came right off the CNC, so I trust that it's straight. Get yourself a square that is also straight. And it's not too important with the rear tire. I mean, it's not too important that the bike is completely, perfectly straight itself, but I checked that. It's kind of dark in here, but it's touching the tire. Bike's sitting level. Now, you'll need this square for, you'll need two squares. You'll need a square like that and a speed square. Now, with your straight edge, and anything will work for a straight edge, piece of iron that long, board, 2x4, but make sure it's straight. You take this, see how it's touching the tire? It takes a little bit of wiggling. I got 2x4s under here. Keep the tire up. Would you go away? I can't do this with you out here.
But why are you videotaping me?
I'm not, but I'm just showing people why I paused. Just, how am I supposed to take a video with you out here? Anyway, take your square, make sure it's flush, touching the tire, good. So I know my board is straight with the bike. Now take it over here. Now what I was having trouble with is, okay, how do I know that this tire isn't left or right a little bit? I mean, I can eye it up with the radiator, but is my radiator straight? Because this one's not. It took a hit right here. This is bent in a little bit. My radiator's not sitting straight. So what am I supposed to eye that up with? Pretty much nothing. So I kind of had to do this, but this is a better way of doing it than just eyeballing everything. So you take your square and you slide it into your tire. So that's touching my tire nice here, nice there. Take your speed square, slide it up to your other square. Make sure you got no gap. That tells me that my front tire is lined up with my rear tire. Straight. So then you take your big square, and you come up to the bike here. Now you can just eyeball that, or let me try to do this and hold the camera here. Find something flat here. Make sure everything's touching nice. And then find something on your bike that's going to tell you that everything is straight. Now that's touching there real nice. And looking down the bike, that tells me that my front end is aligned. That tells me everything is straight. That eliminates a little bit of human error just by eyeballing it up. You know, you have a couple beers or something and things may look a little crooked. So this is a good way, I think, of doing it a little bit more professional than plunging the bike. Now you can still plunge the bike. You can plunge your forks the same way. Line up your front tire on the board with the square where you know that your front tire is straight, and give your bike some plunges here like you've seen on some other videos, and then do your measurements again. You're going to have to do the measurements a few times to make sure everything's straight. If that don't work, which it didn't in my case, what I did is just come around to the front, use your legs here on the tire to hold the tire the best you can, and just twist this front manually. Just whichever way it's out of alignment, just pull your handlebars with everything loose from your top clamp here down. That's these, your caliper, loosen your axle bolt, make sure your axle slides a little bit, loosen your pinch bolts on your axle. If you leave your fender on, which I don't recommend doing, it's hard to see things, loosen your fender bolts too. Loosen anything that can hold the forks from moving. When everything's loose, you can hold your front tire with your legs and you can wiggle the whole thing from the bars left and right. Just don't loosen the top clamps here or everything will slide down. If you do need to move your top clamp and the forks, do what I did or something similar, if I can find it, is I had this. This is an old jack out of a car. Obviously it's cranked up because I was playing with it, but use this on the tire here, sitting on the tire here, from the tire to the bottom clamp under here. That'll keep everything from just sliding down, and then you can loosen the top clamps here and you can screw your jack up to bring the forks up or let the forks come down. Or if you just need to move them, you can always suspend it from your top clamp. That's what I usually use this for. But other than that, I know this method requires some more disassembling. Obviously, it's gonna probably require you to take your tank off, which isn't a very hard task to take your tank off. The only other thing you really should take off is your fender, front fender. I would just take it off. It's pretty hard to see everything down there, what's straight and stuff with that on there. But finding yourself a straight edge like this that runs all the way from the back tire to the front tire and using two squares is going to be a better method for saying, yeah, everything is straight, rather than, yeah, I think everything is straight, looks straight. So from what I did with measurements and everything, the front end is straight. And I've heard that you have to loosen this. I don't know why. This top bracket pivots independently from the bottom bracket. At least it did for me. I don't know what other bikes there is, but I did not loosen this. I didn't have to. I didn't have a wrench to loosen it anyway. So you may or may not have to loosen this. It's recommended that you do. I was going to, but I didn't have to. But everything from these two bolts, or some bikes have 4 bolts up there. South of that, everything down, loosen. And very importantly, when you tighten everything back up, don't tighten one side and then tighten the other side. Do things to torque specs. Find yourself a torque wrench, but when you retighten all the bolts, especially these ones, do them at the same time. Tighten this one up a little bit, tighten this one up a little bit, tighten this one up a little bit, and then this one, or even better, go from this one to this one to, yeah, kind of like a tire, you know what I mean. Just don't crank them all down on one side and then the other, because it'll end up crooked again. Just gradually torque each side, going in reverse order of how you took it apart. So I think that's about it. The front end seems to be straight. Of course, I'll double check everything 3 more times, but this is a long, tedious process to do. Don't expect to just do it in 4 minutes like the plunge method that I seen. You're just gonna need to go back and forth from using your squares down here to keep this tire straight with the rear, and then go back up here, check your measurements here, keep twisting your bars, get it to sit where it's straight, slowly tighten everything up. Hope that helps somebody. Later.